Hello everybody, this is Immense9287 and welcome to SCP Daybreak. For those of you who are not aware, this game is based in the SCPF genre. Those of you who have played SCP The Red Lake will see that this is, I'd say similar, but not even close to the same as the Red Lake. I feel like this is a lot less ruthless. Though this can also be ruthless at times depending on the difficulty you're playing. Since we're playing on normal, it's going to be more ruthless than if you were to play it on the lowest difficulty. But on hard mode, there's no question. It's absolutely awful. Do not ever, ever play on hard without at least one person who knows what they're doing and has a leveled up character specifically needed for these kinds of runs. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to have the volume running this video because I don't know if this game has music that is copyrighted or not. So rather than risk that, I'm going to just have it off for this video. I'll be doing a single run unless we fail so terribly that that I have to try again. I will say that another thing about this is that this doesn't take nearly as long as the Red Lake in terms of how long it takes. Obviously, at the start, it's pretty easy, but it goes from 0 to 100 really quick. If you don't know what you're doing on maps like this, you will wind up failing really quickly. So, for those of you who are not aware, on waves 2 and 3, enemies will spawn in this point. The best way to stop these enemies is to place a gas can, like right about here, and then as soon as they start showing up, destroy it. Of course, in round 3, there is these tiny creatures that spawn before the massive horde of monsters. Take them out without the gas can because you will need that gas can for those creatures. Unfortunately, it seems like somebody's may have wasted the gas can, which is not the best, but it can be worked around. The class I'm running is the medic class, but unfortunately, as of yet, I do not have my class item. So I only have like the basic increases crystal time. Oh, never mind, I do. It's just not as effective. This just a heads up. We need to not waste any resources given to us because unfortunately there's been times where you can absolutely be screwed over by the airdrop system later in the game and not have nearly enough stuff spawning in. There's some classes in this game that are better at certain weapons than the other classes, so if that class asks for a specific weapon, it's wise to give it to them, unless you're only on a pistol, in which case, don't. The pistol does not last long, especially in the higher difficulties. As you can see, somebody placed a gas can right there, like it's necessary. Um, so I'm just gonna sit here for a few seconds and wait till I see that wall just get destroyed. Because you need to break that gas can immediately as it's destroyed, or you will be swarmed by zombies. Well, they're not really zombies, they're SCP instances, but I think it's simpler to call them zombies. Though in reality, they were just turned into monsters by an anomalous sun. At least that's the dumbed down version of it. This SCP, I think, probably has a lot more lore to it, and than I'm really willing to get into in a, in a video that's meant to be for fun. Though, to be fair, you could say that if you're a lore person, doing lore is fun. But for me, I like lore, but I don't like teaching lore. Plus, there's probably plenty of videos out there that can probably explain this SCP better than I can. On the class you can see in front of me is a cloaker. Cloakers are very good at melee fighting. They also have their ability, which it will put away their weapon, but they can just start doing whatever they want with their little dash. In my case, it's a dodge, but they have a dash that they can run right into the enemy and knock them out. The big issue here is that unfortunately like I said, things can not go your way in seconds. Don't know why someone got rid of the scar. That's actually one of the better weapons. Unless they already have one, but I don't think I saw a legendary drop. Oh yeah, well, more on my topic. As you can see, this airdrop has a different color than the others. This is a legendary drop. If you see it drop, and you're closest to it, run and get it. That is probably the drop you should be most focused on getting, especially if you're still on your starter equipment. That's an amazing drop. It will give you good weapons, or if you're very unlucky, it will give you the equivalent of a Dragunov, and at least in terms of how games have portrayed it. Which should give you an idea as to just how bad this is. You could argue that the Dragunov's worse than the starter pistol at times, because the issue is that it doesn't really do all that much damage, and it does not have a good fire rate compared to the other options. As you can see, these are the little monsters I was talking about. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we have a gas can this time around, but yep, there's enemies coming in behind. But for some reason on this map, as opposed to the farm map, they have a habit of just getting stuck on the wall for some reason. I don't know why, but if that wasn't the case, we'd probably be in trouble. But I don't think you should expect this to be a bug forever, because I feel like any dev would try and remove the sort of cheese strat of completely ignoring the side except for like a few stragglers. After wave 3, you don't see anything from the side again. That's this game's version of a spitter, and as you can see, it'll grab the guy closest to it usually. And unfortunately, it can game end people's runs. It's been known to do that. It's arguably one of the most dangerous It's one of the most dangerous enemies you could possibly face in this instance because it can steal you or your allies at a moment's notice, and if it grabs you in the wrong location, you can basically say goodbye to yourself or an ally because you could be surrounded instantly by a horde of SCPs. It will not be pretty. You will die rapidly, and then nobody will be able to reach you unless they're a cloaker with their ability, and that's assuming that the aforementioned grabber doesn't grab them too. That's why whenever you see them, they're arguably the first one you should always target. Followed by, in this wave, I'm pretty certain it's this wave, but there's like these things that are basically like chargers. They will charge at you from spawn after they've targeted you, and they will, once they reach you, they'll damage you, and then they're going to hit the ground, shaking your screen and doing a massive AoE attack. So try to avoid them if you can. A cloaker can punt them around like a ragdoll, but he doesn't. Oh, there's one is now, but a cloaker can actually punt them around like a ragdoll, but that can have adverse effects because you can accidentally punt them into your own spawn, which is where the NPC is at that must not die. Though I think that the group. Oh, and I'm being grabbed away. Grab her now. But anyways, as I was saying, there's an NPC over at spawn that is required to survive if you want to win. If he dies, it's instant game over, so make sure no one gets past you. And if someone does, then you need to double time it to make sure that the NPC survives. Because unfortunately, it is just that ruthless. If a horde of them gets to it, it's basically game over, because unless you have a grenade, you're not surviving. Ooh, hot. Ooh, that was bad. This is one of those times where you should probably grab one of the mini grenades that your allies have grabbed and start using them, preferably on your allies, but yourself if you're really low. Unfortunately, not everyone spawns with said grenades at the end of each round. Those are just for like classes like mine that are the medic class. This is the sniper right there. That is the equivalent of the Dragunov. Do not use it. It's not worth it. Like the only time I would even suggest maybe grabbing it is if you're already desperate for more than one weapon to shoot at the enemy, then grab it. If not, anything else will work. Well, at least almost anything else. There are some things where I think that they're very underpowered for what they're supposed to do. Though, note that there will be a sound cue for whenever people are grabbed by those grabbers. Once you hear that cue, you need to double time it because your allies will not last long if something like that happens. Unfortunately, it looks like the cloaker may have already used his ability, so I might go down here, but I'm hopeful, but I think that we may actually be dying here because there's not enough of us left. The issue is whenever you go down, oh, yep, no, we're dead. That's unfortunate. So anyways, that was just a overview of how to play the game along with some gameplay. Note there's plenty of things that you did not see because there's a far worse map to survive on than that one. There's I'd say there's 3 maps, but there's 2 that you can reach without being level 30 or higher. Since I'm in the lobby, I'm going to just explain how each of the mechanics works. This is scrap. You can use that to go into the shop and buy items like the vest bag, upgrade things like your Game Pass items, special item, which I do not know what it does because I haven't unlocked it yet. Each item is currently attached to a specific level, so you can't instantly buy them. You have to level up to do it. And then there's the operatives, where, as you can see, there's the normals, the Game Passes. I have a single Game Pass one. He's maxed out. I decided to use my medic because I wanted to try and level him up and also to do something other than Cloaker for a change. But anyways, as you can see, each operative works the same way as the items in that you have to be a certain level to unlock them. Every operative, except for Recruit, has this plus sign above their heads. If you click that plus sign, you'll see it gives you an overview of what your class does and what it can get. And also, if you click this button, the upgrade button, you'll see that there's an upgrade tree for each of these classes. So, for example, mine is heavily focused on, this one is heavily focused on healing people a lot more, as well as, in this case of this side of the tree, being less stamina needed for dodging. This one is a very powerful upgrade. I don't know if it stacks with other medics if they have this, but you may say, well, 5 HP, that's not great, but I mean, it's every 10 kills, and you saw how many instances of that SCP were spawning in each round. So easily, if you're killing at least 25 of them each round, if you're killing at least, I'd say 20 of them each round, you're healing your guys like 10, but in those later rounds, there's going to be a lot more than that. The starter round, there's not really all that many, but I think that this may also not even be required to be just you. I think this is just kills in general by the entire team. Because there's been times where one of my buddies was using this class and he said that we were getting healed when he was down. So this is a powerful class to use. This is a really good team-based class. You need this class if you're going into the higher difficulties. Because you're not guaranteed to get heal items. In fact, out of all the games I've played of this, heal items are very rare unless you're on the farm map. And the farm map comes with its own problems, and those heal items you can make there, you'd have to make them while also being assaulted by the instances. So you have to choose when is the right time to make them, and also there's not enough of them that you could just run around all willy-nilly getting hit all you want. So if you want survivability, you're going to need a medic in your team, or you're just going to need to never get grabbed. Or you need to have someone that's dead set on shooting those grabbers as they spawn or as they grab people, because there is a class called Lookout, which is really good at that, because if they have the right weapon, they can one-tap them. But don't guarantee. But the issue about them is that they're glass cannons. They if they spec into their tree, they will have a lot less health than everybody else, unless you give them an armor bag, which is what I usually do. But still, they have less health than everybody else. But they also pack a punch and can spot those special enemies that are giving you problems. And so that's one of the classes I'd say is also extremely needed in runs. If you don't have a medic, you need that guy. Though you obviously can't go all medics because the medic doesn't really have much offensive ability, and you need that offensive ability to survive some of the things that it can send at you, especially at the higher difficulties, because on the hardest difficulty, there's this enemy that spawns in that if it explodes anywhere near you, it will do a massive AoE attack. Because it will charge right at you. It will target the players, and it will charge right at you, and then it'll self-destruct. And if you are in that radius when it explodes, it will instantly down you, no matter what. I think the only one who's immune to this is Mad Hatter, and he's level 50. Let's see. Spawn with Acid Thrower. Yeah, I think you can upgrade him to do that. Well, I don't even know if you're immune in this guy. Though you can actually be immune as a cloaker, because the cloaker gets this ability where they can enter rush mode. And when you're in rush mode, you're immortal. Another lesser known thing about the cloaker is whenever he does his little kick and lands on the ground, he's completely immune to attacks until he gets back up. And also, while he's still down and he has some more kills he can make with his ability, which is the drop kick, which you have to upgrade to get more. But if he's still got kills left to do, he will hit enemies trying to punch him while he's on the ground. It's a very powerful class. It's very stamina-oriented. He's very melee-oriented, but his big fatal flaw is that unfortunately, he has a habit of being grabbed because he's usually in front of everybody. And usually, like I said, grabbers usually go for the person in front of everyone. And so usually he gets dragged away, and if someone doesn't save him, he's going to get mauled before anyone can get to him. The medic also is good at reviving people, but unfortunately, they don't have an immortality ability, so they have to basically pray that there's no enemies around them, not many enemies around them, or there's a cloaker who's still alive who can use his immortality ability to run over and heal them. Anyways, that's it for my video. If you guys would like to go a bit more in depth with each class as I unlock them, I'll happily do that. You just have to let me know. And take care.